Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for coming on.
Definitely. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
What are you up at?
Hey,
Over get some surfing today?
no, I dropped my kid off at junior guards. We're down in Doheny, and then I come back here and try to get a lot of work done. But yeah, so I don't know. I try my best daily to get out there, but when the waves are bad, you can't do too much.
That's awesome.
So again, thank you for coming on. This is Savage Waterman podcast, but you are definitely. We'll get into if you surf and if you train or fight or anything later, but you are a savage entrepreneur, and I describe my podcast as people who either train and fight or surf, or anybody who can
Yeah.
add value to the topics that I love and I find intriguing. So you are definitely in that category. So yeah, let's just. I mean, we'll go into this. This is the book. He has it behind him, but this is the book as well. Um, but let's just jump into it. I know you're a real estate. I mean, how did you get started in investing and being an entrepreneur? I mean, there's so many things I want to ask you, but let's just jump into how you got started in it.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for having me again. But I started off small town Ohio, 18 years old. Knew I was not going to go to college. I hated school. Was not my thing. It's not that I hate school. I just was bored. I wanted to go out and hey, I want to build. I gotta get money. So my parents fight about money all the time. So my thing is how do I make money and without working? And that was to get it, to create my own company or buy a company or do something. And I bought a seamless gutter company actually 2 days after high school. Owner financing, the guy Larry, he got a bad car wreck, so he couldn't climb ladders anymore. Gutters that go around the house,
Yeah.
gets the water from the foundation. And I always grew up in construction house, so that was easy for me. I knew hard work. I could go, I used to calculate how to make $100,000 a year because I never knew anybody that did it. And I got to make $27 an hour, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's kind of how I went. And as I'm doing, that kind of work for people, I'm pulling up and guys are smoking cigars in their Porsche, paying me. And I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, I'm a real estate investor. I'm a real estate investor. And again, I'm not that smart, but I'm smart enough to realize they're not working. I am, and they're driving nicer cars, doing what I want to do. So, real estate investing, I watched an infomercial, went to an event, a 3-day event, changed my life. I had no money. I literally robbed from Paul to pay Peter to go to the event, but I had to do something with it. And that was real estate investing. I did my first deal a week after, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I can do this, I can do it again and again and again. And I say this seriously, but jokingly as well. Real estate's the equalizer of dummies, man. It really is. If you got, if you understand an infrastructure like numbers and you understand about deal making, you can make a lot of money, a lot of money. So you don't need a college degree and all this stuff to make millions of dollars for sure. But
Yeah.
that's how I got started in real estate, man. And that was 1996.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So then from there, you just kept building. I read a couple of things on it. So after you made the first deal, you just rolled that money back into building bigger and better.
Yeah, well, it wasn't bigger and better. I was just making a little bit more money here and there, and I started realizing, oh my gosh, if I can make $3,000, well, if I can make 15 grand, if I can make 10 grand, whatever. And then, but what happened, honestly, man, I almost went bankrupt twice. And I started getting cocky. I started thinking I knew more than I did. I started getting really loose with stuff, thinking that, again, I was young. I was 18 to 22 during this time frame, but that's when I almost went bankrupt. I almost went bankrupt about 20 and then 22. I'm a hard-headed guy, so it takes me a couple times to learn things, what not to do. But when you're at the club spending 10 grand a night, it's money can go away pretty quick, fast. Because not only are you at the club for 10, at night spending 10 grand, the next day you're not doing anything, so there's no production. So it's a roll. It was definitely a massive issue, but I did not go bankrupt. I almost did, but I remember sitting in my office crying, dude, I'm better than this. I I need to step my game up. I'm disrespecting my family and myself. And I was young, and I just bucked up and figured out a new way, and got to work, man. Honestly.
So was it kind of hitting those almost two bankruptcies? Where did you get that hustler gene? Just wanting more, seeing better stuff, or was it already?
Man, lifestyles of the rich and famous. Honestly, back now everyone has access to whatever. Everyone sees everything. Back in the day when I was growing up, lifestyles of the rich and famous was my inspiration. Or, DuPont Registry and stuff like that. I couldn't afford those. I would go to the library and look at these magazines or have the the Lamborghini Countach on the wall, I'm going to have that one day. But, that was for me, just seeing lifestyles of rich and famous, the Lamborghinis, the Ferraris, the Rolls Royces. I'm like, dude, why? these guys don't look smarter than me. And I grew up in a very small town, 650 people. So I didn't know anybody had real money at all. Like I said, I genuinely didn't know anybody made over 50 grand a year at all, ever. So until I moved out of my town, maybe they were or weren't, but like where we live, man, I grew up in a trailer till I was 10 years old, trailer court. So my parents still live in the same house. And I saw my parents work so hard to get so little, but they just did what they did, and I'm not knocking that, by the way. It's just, they did what they had to do. And I was always appreciative of that. And, but honestly, man, as well, I don't know if you felt this way, but like back then when you were poor, you didn't really feel poor because like we didn't have the social influence that we have now where I can literally, everyone has everything I want. Like I actually had to wait till Tuesday at 9 p.m. to see what I wanted. It wasn't in your face 24/7. So it was kind of different, Christmas, I got one toy and underwear and socks and I was happy.
Right. That's the thing is about being happy about it. Now, my kid included wants a present every time he goes to Target or go and I'm saying, my man, just because we're going there to get something doesn't mean you're going to get like run down the aisles and pick everything. And then I try to keep them balanced of like, there's kids out there that don't have this and that. I said, you should buy a present for somebody else and go give it to a charity or something, because there's a lot of kids that aren't as fortunate as you. So I was the same way. I didn't, I'm 46, so we didn't have the go on it, the internet and see all these nice things. And it was definitely different growing up. And I'm not going to say I don't know how old you are, but I'm 46.
I turned 43, man. I just turned 43.
There you go. Well, happy birthday. So we definitely didn't have everything at our fingertips right now. But like you say in economy, a lot of that media, you have to turn it off, right? You don't have to go on social media, Facebook and all that. It's just kind of negative influence on you. So I agree with you. Like, there's good parts and bad parts of it. But so you said, okay, so you went into real estate. When did you realize, so that was your first business, and I know you're a big multiple stream income guy. What was your second revenue? And then how did you start realizing that, hey, if one shuts off, I'm going to have 5 more, 10 more, 20 more. Like, how did you get into that platform and just start going on to that?
No, man, it's a great question. The truth is through my thought auditing process, I think about my thoughts like, man, I want multiple streams of revenue. Keep in mind, I was programmed to be a real estate investor, thinking if I have a house, that's a stream of revenue, another house, another stream of revenue. The truth is it wasn't. I actually almost went bankrupt when I had 65 doors. For the simple fact is I was a landlord, right? I have 65 units. I had all these people paying rent. But what happens when they stop paying rent? I had terrible management. I was the manager. I was collecting rent half-assed. I wasn't like doing what I was supposed to do. So that one stream was drying up. That's what was causing me to almost go bankrupt as well. So I started asking myself, how can I diversify my income? I was still going the gutters. Then I bought a garage door company. Then, my brain was always thinking construction. I could see it, feel it, touch it, and do it. That was my biggest problem for the first 10 years. I wanted to do everything, because I can do it. You can't do it as good as me, blah, blah, blah. Silly stuff we say. But garage door company, then I, siding, windows. I was doing everything, roofing. And I was doing it for other investors as well. And I started building a team and infrastructure. And I started realizing, I don't want to work for the other investors because they're making the money. I'm doing all the mule work, right? Because that was one of my books called Magician versus Mule. I started realizing like I'm doing all the mule work for very little. They're doing all the magician work for the big number. And I started asking myself, how do I do the bigger stuff? So I started creating different verticals in real estate. For me, I was doing, single family wholesale deals, single family rentals. Then I started, rehabbing and retailing houses, to the retail market. And then I started looking at more commercial stuff like little small storage facilities and things like that. And then I started asking, keep in mind, I already had the gutter company, the roofing company. So I had these other streams, even though they're all sucking cash, left and right. But once I started realizing what my unique ability was, I sold off all those little things that took a lot of effort, and then started focusing on more on the bigger, higher return stuff, activities.
Yeah. So I know you say too that you don't like starting companies, you like buying them. What's the criteria that, like, I'm sure there's a checklist. I'm sure you have your team that says, hey, a business after 5 years, I think it has to meet this criteria. What's the criteria that you look for in a company to purchase?
Man, the truth is the number one criteria I'm looking for is the jockey. You know what I mean? I'm looking for the doer. I'm not the doer. That's actually the biggest thing that stopped me from succeeding back when I was doing it all myself, is I had to do everything in all the businesses. So I need the driver. I need the jockey, someone I can trust. It's my eyes and ears. They can trust me. I can trust them. that's the first and foremost thing. I don't invest in companies where I'm taking it over and running it. That's not my skill set. But I'm looking for someone I can say, hey, here's what I'm great at. Here's what you're great at. Let's bolt these on together and let's grow and scale. So I'm looking at the verticals I'm already in through the media companies, the real estate companies, the data companies, and all that, and figuring out how I could bring value just with my connections, with what I've already done. You know what I mean? So that's what's been really powerful for me to kind of like, I don't have like a real formal checklist. I'm kind of an old school hillbilly. So, I mean, I go off of a lot of feeling and data. I look at data, not drama. The data's going to tell you. But the truth is, a lot of times the guys I'm doing business with, man, they're good people. They're just, I see me in them. They're just doing all the work themselves. Like, who do you call? What do you talk about? What are your stress points? And I can help them with that stuff because I'm not in it. So I'm not non-emotional. I can step back, look at the data, and make data decisions instead of emotional decisions.
Are these people that are in your network or friends of friends, or that do they come to you and say, hey, Mark, can you help me out? Or do you say, hey, this could be scalable, this could be run a lot better? Like, how do you guys meet?
Yeah, through social media, man. It's a very powerful tool, but obviously internal network as well. People would know, like, I'm kind of open about like what I'm good at, which is not a lot. I'm good at big picture thinking. I'm good at scalability, seeing the playing field kind of further down the field. You get me in the details, man, I'm done. I hate them. I don't want to talk about it. Like, figure that out. Let's talk about the big stuff. Probably all very high level, A personality guys are like that. Like, dude, just now, let's go. Big picture. You take care of the rest. Big picture. So, but yeah, man, outside of network, I don't do anything less unless they're making, $300,000 or $400,000 a year minimum. That would be like bare bones. Cause that means they're getting a little bit of traction. They have a little bit of eyeballs on them. They have something kind of, the market wants. Now it's just a matter of how do we pour some gas onto it. Yeah.
Cause I don't have the network you do. So I went onto a website, Empire Flippers, or companies or websites that have these companies. But my thought is, and I found out that once they've gotten to that website, they've already gone through. I mean, it's kind of like a watered down filtration system. So I didn't, I've contacted a few of them, and it's kind of like a little sideways on some of them. But I'm interested in buying, like, because I think, I heard you speak at the Lions Not Den. I was researching it before that, but I really don't. I've started a couple companies, and it's, I like the creating, I like the marketing, I like that. But when it comes out, and you've met my wife, I'm not the real salesperson. Like, hey, go buy Happy Beach Vibe. I'm like, hey, if you want it, it's there. Go to happybeachvibe.com. But she's the person who's really the great salesperson. But so I was looking to see taking one over where I could scale it and not be like your advice right there was gold, because I don't want to take the day-to-day grind. I want them to still do it, but I want to be, obviously the profit. So, yeah.
I mean, dude, there's so many opportunities by taking your specialized knowledge and plugging it into theirs, depending on where they're at in the journey. As long as they're teachable and they want to still grow, it's so easy to help them grow. Actually, it's so easy. I get approached often. It's very hard to say no for me. So sometimes it gets me sideways because I try to help everyone out, even though I'm getting way better at that. It's like, dude, I just can't help everyone. I can only, my time's limited. And not only that, if you're trying to do 20 things half-ass, you're only going to have half-ass results. So I'm doing everyone an injustice, including myself. So I focus very strongly on, hey, I'm really good at this. I can bring a lot of value here, but here's what I need you to do. Just very direct about it. And what I've found, man, I don't know about you, but like a lot of people really don't mind working. The problem is they just don't want to work towards nothing. So we can paint the vision for them of where they could be and guide them on that path, and that's a very valuable thing for business guys.
Yeah. I like how you say in your book that you're not self-made, you're team-made. So you have a great team behind you. And that's what I think, being an entrepreneur myself, that's hard for me to let go of some of the little stuff, like you said earlier. I got to get better at that. I just hired a company to do some Facebook ads, and I think I was kind of harassing them, like, hey, what are we doing today? How are we doing this? And I'm like, you know what? I just got to sit back and let them do their thing. But it's hard. It's hard to do. Yeah,
well, again, it is because it's your baby. It's kind of like watching your baby go off to high school and college and all that. But like, again, you don't want to be the helicopter owner, because if you are, the problem is the problems are always coming to you, small and big. I just want the big problems. I genuinely, you can ask anybody on my teams, come to me with the big problems. I don't want to hear about the small ones. Solve it. recently had a couple of our team members, they felt like they were being overworked. And, one of the management team said, hey, should we give them a bonus of $1,000 or what? I'm like, why is this even being thought? Like, I trust you. I believe, if you think that's what they need and it's going to keep them around, do it. I don't need to hear about that. That's not a problem to me. The problem is, hey, they stole your data. We got to sue it. Like, those are the problems I want to be dragged into.
Yeah.
Because we're solutions,
I had a marketing company, and some of the girls, they called them brand ambassadors. They were calling me with personal life problems. And my wife knows that don't come to me because I'm not the real shoulder to cry on. And I put one on speaker, and she's crying about an ex-boyfriend. And so then after that conversation, I hired account managers. I said, here, you go to the account manager. You shouldn't be calling people for your personal stuff anyway. But if you do, call the account manager, not me. I'm done with this shit. So, yeah. Another great thing that you said here was I got a bunch of notes here, but be a creator, not a consumer all the time, So that's great advice. I think, a lot of people are so busy buying and not creating the stuff. But elaborate a little bit on that for me.
Yeah, I mean, dude, just in social media alone, right? Consumption's galore. Look at your phone. You're on it consuming constantly. And the thing is, you're consuming the creator's content. And a lot of people get caught up in the cycle where I can't be as good as Mark. I can't be as good as you or me, them, blah, blah, blah. Well, you don't have to be. You just have to be a creator. And if you stay consistent creating content, creating value into the marketplace, you will become people that are consuming your content. And the more eyeballs you got, the more ears you have access to, the more revenue you can generate, the more opportunity. I mean, it's endless, the opportunities now. So I'm mostly talking about that, but also in life. I see a lot of people just in consumption mode. Me and my wife talk about this all the time because I like to buy stuff very quick and move on, solve the problem. But sometimes you got to just stop, think about it. See, I kind of like, depending if it's a big purchase, I kind of let it set for 30 days because I like to buy stuff fast and just move on. And I'm talking big purchases, these could be 6-7 figure purchases, but it's like, dude, I want it. Doesn't mean I need it. Should I go get it? Cool. If I come back and revisit that in 30, 60 days and I still want it, I'll probably get it. But if not, most of the time you forget about it, just move on,
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like my kid, 8 years old, he wants something so bad. 2 days later, it doesn't even think about it. So it's a good mentality to have, like even with us as adults, it's like, hey, it's a shiny object. Am I going to want it in 30 days? So, yeah. Well, yeah. Let's see. So I know you're a huge passive income. We've been talking about that. If somebody right now, let's say they had 10K in the bank, what would be the number one passive income stream that you would recommend to invest in or get started in or back behind?
Well, 10 grand in the bank, you don't have a lot of money. So I would say invest in yourself and your knowledge up about money. That'd be the first thing I would do. You might not have to spend any money to do that. You can go on YouTube, start to understand, like read Think and Grow Rich, read The Magic of Thinking Big, read, Robert Kiyosaki's books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Like just understand the dynamics of money. The reason most people don't have, by the way, everyone has passive income. It's not passive. Everyone has income stream. Mostly it's a stream. No S is attached to that. It's called their job. So they understand how it works. It's just they feel like they have to work for it. And you do. That's kind of part of the active income stream. But also you got to teach your brain of how to create passive income streams. Maybe buying some, I'm not saying do this, but if you have money that, could possibly lose, put it into some ADA or Hex and just get some passive residual off of those. That's crypto stuff. Or I personally, if I only had 10 grand, I'd be investing in myself, honestly. I'd be all in myself. I'd be trying to figure out how to create a software or create a business or create a product or create a business that I could build. Because for me, initially, when I started building my passive income streams, I don't get excited about $20. I'm not getting excited about a $20 passive income stream. I'm going to lose my focus in a nanosecond. So I just got really excited about front end income. How can I make a lot of money in the front end and just stuff the money in different environments and then just wake up one day with like real money stuffed away? And then that's when I started really playing the game of passive income.
Okay. So I was listening to your e-com versus real estate on YouTube. If anybody hasn't listened to that, I'll put a link of all your stuff in there below. But that was a good one. I like that. Let's see what else. 5-year companies. So then you got into, how many books have you written so far?
So I got 12 books out in the market right now.
Okay. 12. And this is the one I just bought another one. I think the 10-minute business. What was
10-minute business owner?
Yeah, I just bought that one on Amazon, but I've gotten this one. I've read this one. This is your latest book, correct?
Yep, The Economy just came out June 19th.
Yeah.
On my birthday.
What was it? June?
It was on my birthday, June 19th.
Oh, okay. Well, happy birthday on that. So yeah, I've got the highlights in here. I've read it. It's a great book. So how did you start getting into writing books? I mean, is it something you've always wanted to do, or is it just something another channel to get your message out there?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a great marketing tool, right? By the way. So my first 4 books were actually conversations transcribed into a book format.
Mm-hmm.
And that was November 21st, 2006. Reason I did it is I got so many people asking me, Mark, can you teach me? Can you teach me? I'm like, I don't have time to teach everyone. So I was like, I'll just put my conversations in a book. And that was real estate investor book. So I had like The Girl at One, Apprentice, Kendra Todd. I had Frank McKinney, $50 million spec builder that I used to watch on Oprah and Lifestyles of Rich and Famous, by the way. And then all these different people wanted to be a part of the book. E-Myth, Michael Gerber, great people. So I was like, hey, let me teach mindset. Again, I've always known, I always said I was a real estate guy, but I'm really like a business owner that just does real estate and a bunch of other things. So what I see a lot of people doing is when I started like building the books out, everyone's like, teach me the tactical stuff about real estate. I'm like, dude, there's a million books written about that. The problem is not tactical. The problem is mindset. So my books were laced with mindset all the way through it with like 2 or 3 tactical approaches. And if you need tactic, like you got to pick up the phone. That has nothing to do with a tactic. That has to do with the mindset of understanding how to pick up the phone. Yeah. You don't need a script to say hello. You know what I mean? So I was just kind of like deprogramming people through my books. And what happened when I came out with my first book, we had all my book profits go to charity, which is really cool. Ever since 2006, I've been giving all that money to charity and forever. And what's neat about it is my businesses grew, right? Because credibility starts kicking up. So you do one book, they're like, shit, he's got a book out. Oh my God, he's got 2 books. Oh my God, 3 books. Now all of a sudden you have 12, 13. My goal is to do 1 a year till I die, at least 1 a year. I have 3 in the pipe right now, actually. But so, I mean, dude, it's just a great marketing channel. I work hard for it. I don't get paid on it, but it's a great exposure. It's a great tool. I'm here because of it, right? Yeah. So it's just a great way to get massive exposure.
Yeah. And in there you say, you are about the 5 people that you most hang around with. That's kind of who you are. How do you find good coaching? Like you talked about in the book, you need coaching. Like if you want your kid to learn how to surf, you hire a surfing coach. If you want your kid to soccer, this is something that I'm really taken away with because I've never had a business coach or a life coach. And it's a typical man, like, oh, I don't need that. I'm this and this and that. But now I'm open to it. And I'm like, well, how do you find a good business coach or find a good mentor to help you and progress?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, again, like inside the book you're mentioning, like a lot of people don't understand. They think they go to college and, they're done with education. I think that's when real education really starts, to be honest. Yeah. But like as we get older, asking help from a coach, someone that's aligned with where you're at and where you want to go, I mean, it's game over. It could change it's changed my life. I still have great coaches and I will forever for sure. And I'm talking at different levels to, relationship coaches, financial coaches, business coaches, et cetera, like lots of coaches. And, people will hire a personal trainer, but they won't hire someone for their brain to grow their company, which makes zero sense to me. Because I understand it. Like if you're going through relationships, hire a great relationship coach to help you go through the journey. They see all kinds of crap. Your problem is not really unique. It's unique to you maybe, but it's really not unique to them. So they'll help you navigate the problems to get out of your own way. They see around the corners, if you will. And so if I was looking for a coach, one, I'm going to say, hey, what kind of coach am I looking for? Like I'm writing this down and, I'm looking for someone that's like, honest, hardworking, successful. And success too is kind of a delusional thing. Like what does success mean for you? Because you might hire the best business coach, but they're a terrible, person with their spouse. Maybe they don't even have a spouse. That doesn't mean I can't hire them. It just means I got to be very clear on what my goal is with that person. And if you don't have much money or no money, go on YouTube. Tony Robbins has got great stuff out there. I mean, there's a lot of great people that could share global conversations with you. But the top 5 people you're around, man, it's what are you guys talking about? I talk about the king of the dipshit mentality, because most people are hanging out with 5 people and they're like, yo, man, I got a 12% raise this week. And it's like, Steve's like, oh man, I got 3 weeks extra vacation. It's like, I'm talking about like, how are we growing the business? Who are we hiring? My conversations are very, very different with my guys. It wasn't always that way. But once I realized that's the conversation that I need to be having, very progressive, not talking about what I did in high school. And remember that touchdown I scored in 1995? It's silly. Does nothing.
The Al Bundy mentality. I scored 4 touchdowns and 1 touchdown.
Exactly. Again, if you're looking for a coach, there's a lot of great people out there. The question is, what would you want the coach to bring to you? And, just start interviewing them. And, there's a lot of people say they're coaches. They're not. I'm not a good teacher. I'm very good at the big, again, back to the big picture stuff. I'm not the ABCD tactical guy, but I'm more like very resourcefulness in my thought process. Like, you come to me and like, yo, man, I got this big problem. I'm like, I hear the big problem, and my brain goes to who can solve the problem for us. Not how do I solve it, but who can solve it for us. Yeah. And it's a way different coaching strategy. And I have a lot of great successful guys I've worked with, over the years, still do. It's different. Everyone needs something different, I guess, for what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I tell people when they ask about personal training, I said, well, go to the gym, find the person that you want to look like, and then go talk to that person. Because if you go to a person who's overweight and kind of, they don't even have their own discipline to do it themselves. So why are you going to listen to them? So I need to take that same approach to the business coach and the life coach. And it's like, hey, are they living the lifestyle I want? Can they talk to me? Can they resonate with, I don't do well with drop and give me 50 push-ups, maggot. Like, get the I'm like, dude, we got bigger problems here. But so I look towards the people that, talk to me the way that works for me. And so I think that's what I'm going to do for the business coach as well.
I think you should look at masterminds. I love, one-on-one business coaching is cool. I get a coach all the time to do it. I don't personally do one-on-one coaching. It's very intense because I do care. It's not just a number. Like, I'm very relationship driven, relationship capital. I talk about that as well. But so it's like hard for me. If you give me money, like my brain goes, how do I make him money, get them money back as quick? Like it's just very stressful for me. But in a mastermind setting, let's say if there's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people, you're going to get the benefit of them. I mean, literally 50 guys could change the world. Any problem you have, someone's been through that in that group. And as long as the leader of that mastermind group is hardworking, honest, ethical, and filtering people through that cycle properly, that to me, I bet you could get way more out of it. Just because now you have brotherhood, you have different connections all over the country, maybe all over the world. You could hit someone up that had maybe you see someone that's really, depending on what you're trying to do, like someone's really good with CRM management for your company, or someone good with like apparel, production lines. And they might be in this mastermind. You could hit up each one individually and get way more value for your dollar in energy and time. Must be some great people, man.
Well, that's how I met you, was through the Lions Den. That was so. I don't know if you saw a lot of people that I follow were at the Avengers Mastermind group, the Dan Fleischman. So like Dan Young, they all have their little nuggets, and I'm like, wow, how did they get into this? And so I think you're right. I think masterminds are something that I've gotten into and really think are beneficial to me. Just like you said, you could just take little nuggets from here and there and reach out to people instead of just one person. So yeah, I think masterminds are awesome. So yeah, I'm going to look into more of those. But you don't you have one that people get on a yacht or something? Because I know you
have a thing called the Dealmaker Mastermind, the DM. It's $50,000 a year. We meet. Actually, we're going to meet August, but we meet 3 times a year. Once in Ohio, once in Florida, usually once out of the country. We're very experimental driven. Like, we go in and we meet for 4 or 5 hours. Families are usually there. Then we go hang out with the families and go on the yacht, or go do some cool adventurous stuff with the kids and the wives and all that stuff. And to me, like, if you're not successful in business if you're not successful in life, in personal life. So I try to incorporate we incorporate that internally with not just talking about it, but through actions. But it's awesome, man. There's great groups out there. We do yacht trips. We do private one-day trips like that as well. Yacht trips. We did the jet with the guys when I met you. I had a lot of guys there with me, so they all paid to be on the jet for the day with us. So I like experiences, man. I think it just changes because some people are like go into the hotel room, sit down, it's freezing cold. You got your same cheap pen, silly paper. It's like, dude, I want to connect. I don't want to just sit there and I don't learn best. I'm not a good learner like that. But if you and I are sitting like this, or at the bar, or restaurant, or what, I can learn so much more. Or if we're out, even on the beach, dude, right? Hanging out on the beach, doing whatever. But we're talking, we're connecting. I'm seeing how you move. You're seeing how I move. Like, I think there's an energy to movement that you don't get in a classroom style setting.
Yeah. And I think when I'm in a classroom, I automatically just start looking at other things, and I'm like you said, like I wasn't a very good student. I went to college just because my parents instilled that in me. But I've learned so much more, like you said, on YouTube, and there's an Udemy thing, which is you can go online and buy online. Things that I'm interested in, I learned a lot about by my own just researching it. But you put me in a classroom setting, and I'm just like, probably a lot like my son. Like, I don't want to be here. Get me out of here. But
well, dude, every entrepreneur I know has ADHD all the way to Z. It's in us. It's really like, it's the way we tick. I'm actually anxious just sitting here, just because it's like, stay still for an hour. Wait, what? But like for guys like us, but the thing is, there's no right or wrong, just using this as an example, but my team, my COO people, they love sitting in a room being very strategic. I'm like, let's just be done with this. Make a decision, move on. They're like, let's talk about the decision. What's like, I don't process stuff like that. So again, back to like, I think you have to realize, like, I think what Avengers is doing a really good job, because they're creating the experiences in it, doing the stadiums and having celebrities come in or whatever gets people excited. But you're still sitting at a table for many hours. You got to find again. There's a lot of great people out there doing some cool stuff now.
Well, it's funny. They're all showing the stadium, the Emmitt Smith, and all this. I think only one actually showed him sitting down listening to a speaker. But all the other guys were selling the hype, and the concert was on there, and this and this and that. But so I know. And also in your book, you say that you give back, and you mentioned it in the podcast here. How did you get to that aspect where there's so many beneficial things about giving back, but I talk about how you found that, and I know you make veterans homes, and you do so much, but just tell us how you got to that point where giving back is so much better.
Yeah, man, I just got to a point where I've done so many bad things, I was figuring out how to buy myself to heaven.
There you go.
No, in all seriousness, man, I always grew up in my parents are amazing. Community was amazing. When I was 10 years old, we had a house fire. We lost the whole house. We lost everything. We were living in a camper, a little 14-foot camper in the backyard while my parents were rebuilding the house because we didn't have that much insurance. So, but I remember the community actually came together. And again, this is a 650 person town, and they put like a little glass pickle jar. It's like Help the Evans family or whatever. And they raised like $700. Again, might not sound like a lot of money, but back then that was a huge amount of money. And, aunts and uncles and my parents were like, literally, they could be dead broke. Someone would call and say, hey, can I they take their shirt off their back and give it to them. They just give. So, when you start creating wealth, you actually just enhances who you really are. If you're a dick, you're a bigger dick. If you're a great giver, you're just going to be a bigger giver. So it's something I've always been very conscious of as a muscle, because giving is a muscle. And I always meet people like, man, when I make $1 million, I'm going to give 10% away. And I'm like, well, how much are you giving away now? And it's like, nothing. It's like, it's never happening then. Until you can give away when you have a little, you can't give away when you have a lot. So I always heard that in the back of my head. And I have great mentors, Frank McKinney, talking about the tap on the shoulder. Like, those moments, I'm getting goosebumps even saying, but like those moments when you see someone that you can help, but you don't listen to the tap because you're like, I'm busy, or, oh my gosh, that's $18. I only have $27 in the bank, or whatever. But those are the moments the universe is testing you. I believe in that stuff. I don't know what you think about that stuff, but it's like a real thing to me. So I pay attention to that. And the more, time I get with my brain, thought auditing about what this stuff really means for me, because everyone says they believe in tithing. Oh, I get 10X and blah, blah, blah. It's like, cool, give all your money away then. Then all of a sudden they don't believe about it as much as they used to. It's easy to talk the game, but again, it's a muscle. So it's like, get in the gym. I want to outgive anything I've given more money than I've ever thought was possible already. So I can only imagine where I could be, 50 years from now, and hopefully forever, right? I want to be giving after I'm gone, even so as a legacy piece. But it's a muscle. Give $100, then you get to $1,000, and all. I used to go to the bank, church, and I'd have a $20 bill, and I'm like shaking it, hoping everyone sees me put it in there because everyone else gives me $1. But but this comes around back to the 5 people you hang out with. The people I hang out with are great givers, and we almost play. It's not even a game. It's like we want to outgive each other, and I want to lead through giving. I want to drive goals through giving. Our number one core value in our companies is Care 360. So it's cool to I actually love giving, man. It's the best feeling in the world. I don't need anything. I got everything I need.
Yeah.
But giving really changes the dynamics of what all this craziness is for, you know?
Yeah. Well, I like your 30-day challenge in the book. It says, if you're going to buy a coffee or if you whatever, pay for the person behind you, or give somebody something each day. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start. And I had a tap on the shoulder the other day. We were at the Wild Animal Park in San Diego, and our service was terrible. It took us 2.5 hours, but at the end of the day, it wasn't the server's fault. So I gave him a lot. But then I walked away going, man, I should have gave him more, because it would make his day better than, and I should have gone back. But I gave him a good amount, but it was still like, I could have made that guy smile a little bit bigger. But that was a tap on the shoulder moment.
Yeah, man. The universe is testing us all the time, and it's easy to give when it's easy. It's really those moments when it's not easy, when you start questioning it or doubting it, and that's like the test. Like, hey, am I going to lean into this, or am I going to pull back? And sometimes you pull back, sometimes you lean in, but every time you lean in, you're getting closer to that next level. And I do know it's a real thing, because I have definitely experienced some amazing stuff, and a lot of my buddies, all of my buddies that give, are. It's an amazing feeling. I've never met someone that says, "Man, I hate giving." Giving makes me feel terrible. Yeah.
Well, another thing, we're referencing the book a lot because this is your new book and it's awesome. But in there, you say your daily habits are crucial. I know you're an early guy like me. I woke up at 4:45, hit the gym, do my stuff. How important are your daily habits? Good daily habits, and if how do you get in the habit of doing that? Like you said, changing your mindset. But how do you recommend getting into that?
Yeah, man, I'm an early riser. It's 4:44 for me. Like it's very, like, I don't need alarms, even though I do set an alarms, because it kind of creates like a trigger in my brain to wake up. And I'm like, I just want to beat the alarm up. It's kind of, I play these weird games to myself. But
I'm exactly the same way.
It's weird, but I didn't say I'm not weird, but it is a weird thing. We're all weird, right, in some way, shape, or form. But no, man, listen, I think habits build confidence. Habits build an infrastructure to give me, like, you can't come into my world and say, hey, man, you're a lazy piece of blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I got, like, let's go. Like, I'll show you how lazy I am. Like, that's kind of like, I want to be prepared. I think most people are underprepared for everything. I'm trying to be over-prepared for everything. I don't want to be where I have, like, I see a lot of people, they're like, man, maybe they're right. Anytime I feel that way, it's because I didn't prepare hard enough. And it's interesting to me, a lot of people not preparing think they've already prepared hard enough. The guys that over prepare feel like they haven't done enough. So for me, man, it does. It's our personality. I'm telling you, it's what I see guys that are excelling. It's our personality, because it drives my wife nuts. She's like, dude, you got this. You're fine. It's not a big deal. You've done this so many times. I'm like, we need to prepare. We got to hit this out of the park, and blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as I get done, I'm like, man, I should have done this, back to work. I get back to work on making it better. But dude, it just gives you so much confidence, and no one can steal that away from you, because you're in control of it. Again, it comes down to control your controllables, right? I can control when I wake up. I can control what I put in my brain. I can control what I eat in my mouth and all these things. But at the end of the day, man, if you don't have, good rituals or good daily habits, you're setting yourself up for massive failure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, see, people make fun of me that I like to go to bed early. I'm like a 8:30, 9 o'clock kind of guy, because I wake up so damn early, and people are like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, I've spent so much of my early 20s seeing the sun come up. I only want to see the sun come up when I'm going to the gym or surfing. I'm done seeing it come up, by drinking all day or something all night. So, yeah. So, like I said, I met you through public speaking. How did you get into public speaking, and what is that's got to be a rush to get up in front of 500,000, 10,000 people. Like, how did you get into that?
No, it's I think they kind of go hand in hand. As you start getting more visibility, people start requesting to do more things, and it is something that scares me, and so therefore I want to lean into it and do it. And but I don't. One thing about my speaking, I only do it a couple times a year, for the simple fact is I want to be. I'm not good with it, because I usually get out of my daily routines. I'm not getting up early. I'm hanging out too late. I eat dinner at 5 o'clock. I'm like an old man. Like, my buddies joke around, like, dude, what are you getting, a senior discount? I'm like, whatever I have to do. I'm just hungry at 5 o'clock. Like, what are you talking about? So keep in mind, like, I'll be smoking a cigar at like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and people are like, dude, it's so early. I'm like, I got up at 2:30 in the morning. What are you talking? This is like 2 p.m. for me. But they don't know that, whatever. But So, but getting in front of the room, man, it's a great way I like to share messages one to many. And it's
Mm-hmm.
cool one-on-one, but if we can do one-to-one and then have many, participate in it, like that's the ultimate thing, man. A lot more valuable to everybody. And if you're going to share it, why not share it with more people? If you have such a
Yeah.
good message, right? So
Yeah.
I do it with, like, buddies like Sean and different people like that. But I get requested all the time, man. It just travel and all that stuff. It really throws me off. So I try not to do a whole lot of it.
Yeah. Well, you're great at it. Even though I was in a classroom setting, I was listening to every word you said. I have tons of notes about it. So you did awesome.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. But again, I got off the stage and I literally like, damn, I should have said this. I meant to say that. And blah, blah, blah. Like, again, it's a way, the crowd, and, every crowd's different. Every moment's like, you just want to be valuable to everyone there. And I actually hung out pretty much the whole event out back. I want to talk and meet people.
That's what I was going to say. I really appreciate the fact, because I got up to go to the restroom. I saw you and Matt there, and I ran over and talked to you guys. And to me, like, you always kind of want, like we talked about earlier, you want the trainer who's doing what you're doing or live the lifestyle. That was awesome to me, because I respect people who shared I didn't want to bother you guys, and I'm not usually the guy who runs up, but I was like, there's nobody there. I'm going to go up and say hi and thank you for, everything you've done. I think it was awesome that you were sitting out there just shooting the shit with everybody who came up and talked to you. And, I think you were there for all 3 days, right? I saw you in the back. You got
dude, I was there all 3 days. To me, that's the best part, to be honest with you. You actually get to meet people one-on-one, because we all have things going on, and we all, like, those moments can matter to people at a whole nother level one-on-one. So, to me, it's like, I remember when I was on the journey, I still am, different journeys and all that. So if I got to meet the person and they just say something, that might hit different, it might come across different, it might be more authentic, because it's to me, not to the masses, It could be the same message, but one-on-one, it sounds a little different,
Yeah. Well, no, I appreciate your time out there. And we had a little one-on-one too, so I really appreciate it. I know you're getting more antsy, so I'll wrap this up. But since it is Savage Waterman, we've had a conversation, but have you ever surfed, and do you ever train or fight or do any MMA training?
Yeah, no, surfing's not my thing. I'm more MMA style, body style, not surfing style. I have a bad hip and all that stuff. So, and plus I hear, shark attack songs in my head when I'm out there. But I love the ocean. I absolutely love the ocean and the water, just being around it, great, amazing energy in the water. But like, I prefer to be training, if I'm doing anything, hitting the bag or, just working out, honestly, just working out. I don't do a whole lot of wrestling and stuff like grappling. I used to box a lot, but that's not my brain's not built for that anymore, to get hit in the head too much. But no, man, I love pushing limits on my bodies, right? In my brain, and bodies too, in the brain, physically, mentally. Like, hey, I can't do that anymore. Well, so I got to do it I got to do it twice. But yeah, man, that's awesome. And I know you love surfing, so it's
it's my saltwater therapy. If I'm not in the water, my wife says, get out of here, go get wet, because it's like, nobody's bothering. There's no emails, there's no texts, there's no social media. It's just you out there. And it's great for me now, because my son's 8 and we can go surf together. And it's cool. Just like the other day, he cut me off, and usually you kind of get a little bud hurt when you get cut off. I was laughing and so stoked. Like, it made me proud as a dad, just like, oh my God. And he took it all the way, like 100 yards. And it was awesome. It was one of the best feelings. So yeah, that's cool. I'm glad I can put that onto him, and he can take it over from now. So
no, you're leading though. I think the biggest thing you're saying, you're really leading by example. A lot of people say do as I say, not as I do, but like, you're out there showing them the path. And like, really what we're talking about is finding your happy place. Where's your place that you can like release and let go and be free, and like, like I said, just no distractions, disconnect. I have my property here in Ohio. I go sit out in the woods. I have a cool bench out in the back overlooking a ravine, and I can see the deer, the turkey, the foxes, all this stuff running around. Like, it's just very relaxing. It's quiet as hell. You got the birds chirping and all that. Hear the leaves blowing. To me, it's like, where, when I'm in Florida, that's different. I'm on the beach, whatever. But, you got to find these places that you can really recharge your batteries and reset.
That's Cabo for me. You guys have any future plans to go out there?
Cabo? I'd have to ask my wife. I don't think so. We're trying to get this house settled in here in Ohio, because we just got over here about, a week or two ago. And we got a couple of events like up in New York to do, and different things I got with some friends. But I love Cabo. Anytime I get a trip out there. You said you're going out in August?
Yeah, we're going August 1st. We don't even have a return date. We did 3 months out there from January to April. So my biggest concern is I have 2 golden retrievers, so we're not taking them out there. So it's only going to be about a 2 or 3 week vacation. But yeah, Cabo's the summertime right now is when the south swells kick in, so it's the best time of the season for surfing. Yeah, eventually we want to buy a place down there and spend a lot more time down there. But I love Cabo.
Why not?
Yeah.
What size of waves can you hit through the summer?
They get. I mean, there's places that'll get because hurricanes when the hurricanes are offshore, we like that because we get the waves, but we don't get the weather. But when the weather starts coming in, they'll get 15, 20 feet.
Oh, wow.
I'm a little old for that, so I like to stick around the 8 to 10 is where I like it. But 4 to 6, 8 to 10 is because out there it's really point breaks. There's lefts, there's rights. It's just, and the water's warm out here. You got to wear wetsuits and all this, and I'm out here, and I'm in San Clemente, California. We do have sharks, and in Cabo, I've never thought about a shark, although I know they're out there. It's the ocean, but I just feel a little bit safer. I don't know why, and probably if I think about it more, I won't. But for some reason, I just feel a lot safer.
Warm water, right? They don't like that warm water. I think that's the biggest thing, right? They like the cold.
Well, tiger sharks do, and tigers are the brutal ones. Because when we go to Maui, Maui and Cabo are our 2 favorite spots. Maui has tiger sharks, and they're like the garbage men of the sea. That's when I think we were talking about a Honolulu Bay. They come up and just nab you, and it's not fun. But hey, we got to do what we got to do, right?
Makes you want to go surfing for sure.
Well, we could box too. I have a fighting gym out there. My buddy has a gym out there, so I do training and surfing out there while we're vacationing. So it's always awesome. Good. But I'll let you go because I know you get antsy. But this is the book. I've read it, and take your notes. It's an awesome book, and you have what'd you say? 11 more? Was it your 11th or 10th?
That's my 12th book, and I have 3 more in the pipe coming out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you're a busy man.
But so I gotta stay busy, man. This is the devil's workshop if I'm not,
Yeah, exactly. What's your Instagram? Like, how do you want people to get a hold of you or reach out to you or just see what you're up to?
Yeah, man. As you know, Instagram's great at that, at Mark Evans DM. Also go to the website at markevansdm.com. Subscribe to the newsletter. We send out daily emails every other day max. But yeah, we're connecting, communicating. We've got some cool stuff going on, and we're always sharing. There's nothing really, we don't sell a whole lot of stuff. We're more just kind of sharing knowledge and dropping insights in that podcast show and all that stuff. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Well, hey, it was great having you on. I love the book, and I'll reach out to you soon, and we'll maybe get some deals going on or something.
Awesome. Tell your wife I said hello. Thank you, guys.
I will. All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Later, buddy. Good night.